There we go. All good. Right, let's make a start then. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the fifth anniversary of the Welsh Azure User Group on the 23rd of September 2025. Look, thanks everybody for joining. We'll no doubt get a few more people through the doors, the virtual doors, as we get through this little introduction. Nothing majorly special tonight from my part, other than we've got another great speaker on to talk to us tonight. But I thought we'd just kind of kick things off with the usual hello from the user group from myself and Matt. You know, I'm sure those that have joined in the previous months are familiar with myself and Matt. We've been, I think, we're the last two men standing of the user group over the 5 years, Matt, right? So,
Yeah, there might even be a question about that in the quiz.
there we go. So, but no, in all honesty, if you're not following us on LinkedIn or we're not connected, please feel free to reach out, say hello. We're always open to any thoughts or ideas or speakers or whatever it might be. You know, if you've got any ideas that you want to put forward, please do feel free. We do have affiliations between all the other user groups up and down the UK, so we're quite a close knit bunch of passionate folks, I think is the word that you'd say. Not crazy, passionate is the word we use, right, for setting up these user groups. But no, it's a really good community. So, like I say, if you've got any ideas, we can help. I can't even speak. Share them across the community, or get in touch with others. Loads of things we can do. So we're all always open to any ideas like that. Please do feel free, reach out, say hello, and there we go. There's the usual folks join us now. Hey Dee, hey Simon, good to see you. I've kicked off. So yeah, hello from me and Matt anyway. Quick housekeeping rules. All should be fairly obvious, but I do like to reiterate. Please, everybody, should go without question, but please be courteous to each other. There are no silly questions. We are all here to learn, and we're all here to pick up on everybody's experience, no matter how small or how big or how whatever. Look, everybody's here to learn, so please do, kind of use the chat facility. Still mute if you can, unless speaker invites you to come off and speak to the group. Just makes life a little bit easier. You know what these virtual meetups can be like. But like I say, you've got the chat facility open. Please be interactive, join in the chat, help answer each other questions. Let us know when you had a particular issue that somebody's speaking about. It's always good fun. It's the closest thing we can get to networking in a virtual environment. And don't forget, we've got the quiz after the second speaker. There is no second speaker tonight. I've just not updated that slide. So it's after Steve has run his session with us tonight. We'll have our famous quiz platform with some actual prizes to be won. But most importantly, please be interactive and enjoy the session. There we go. This wouldn't be a fifth anniversary without Alan joining us, would it? Hiya, Alan. Thank you for the happy birthday. We're just cracking on through the preamble. Right, so quite poignant. We've got Steve Judd joining us from Servent to give us a talk around really good use case at the minute. So the title of it is called From Voice to Action. So driving better outcomes in social care. I'll let Steve unpack that and tell us about that story when we get to him very shortly, when I stop rambling on. But more importantly, Steve's joined us from Servant, who, as everybody knows, has been one of our key main sponsors of the user group since day one. So 5 years ago now. So really pleased to have Steve on to kind of join the dots on that circle there, because it seemed quite apt from our perspective. So timing wise, like I say, quite a simple agenda tonight. I'll stop talking fairly soon and we'll hand over to Steve. Once Steve's finished his talk, we'll jump into the quiz with some Amazon vouchers as usual to be won. But before we do that, I just wanted to kind of cast our minds back over the last kind of 5 years, really, being the fact that it is our fifth anniversary. And, I didn't have too much time to pull this all together, but it's surprising, really, where we've come from over the last 5 years, the amount of people that have been involved, the amount of fantastic speakers we've had on. For those that follow me on LinkedIn, you would have seen I've posted things out there already, just thanking everybody that's been part of it. Like the highlight. I mean, Matt, maybe we should have done this earlier, but maybe pick out a couple of highlights. But for me, was not long after we started the group, was trying to get the group noticed that, we managed to get Scott Hanselman and John Saville. You'll see it there, just that fantastic February. So about 3 or 4 months after we started, I forget, there were significant numbers of people that joined, and all of a sudden the Welsh Azure user group just kind of sprung life into it. And people would always ask me, like, wow, that's amazing. Like, how did you get Scott and John on to say hello? And it's like, well, it was simple, really. Just email and ask. And, the gracious guys that they both are, you can imagine the impact that they have across the technical community and the amount of calls and transactions and interactions that they have. Literally, Scott replied to me probably within about 10 minutes of me messaging him, and the same with John. So it just goes to show that, no matter how successful, how big you get, how much impact you have across the community, we are all still just those hopefully relatively humble people that are there just to kind of help each other and, no stupid questions, lean in and kind of support user groups. But for me, that was one. I mean, I know we had Abel Wang, God rest his soul, join us as well with April Edwards at the time, another fantastic speaker. But I look back on what we've done over these last 5 years, and it's been phenomenal. I mean, Matt, I don't know if there's anything you want to add, if there's any standout sessions for you.
I'd say that the one time that we actually did an in-person one was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun. I've just realised I'm wearing exactly the same outfit that my profile picture is there, which is slightly unnerving. And in fact, I nearly wore my official top tonight as well. But yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, I think the Hanselman Saville lineup was a particular highlight. But we've had so many great speakers over 5 years. I've enjoyed things like the lightning talks. I think the lightning talks were a lot of fun, where we had the lots of short 10-minute speakers. I think were great. Unlike personally for me, I wouldn't have written a quiz.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of quizzes over the last 5 years, and actually writing your own quiz platform was a really fun thing to do, to be honest. So, and I wouldn't have done it without the user group. So,
no, thanks, Matt. I mean, it's true to say, right? Like I think that just came off the back of we were using Kahoot, and obviously Kahoot costs money, and I think at the time we were fortunate that Microsoft was sponsoring us a bit. It's not a cheap platform, and off the back of that, Matt, you went and wrote your own quiz platform, which and it's all on Azure. So I mean, it's just funny how you end up doing these things, right? And I think the doors that open, the things you get involved with, and again, I think these user groups are great to just foster that energy. And I use earlier that word passion, because I think it is passion. It's about just making sure we can all help each other and just be there as a bit of a, albeit virtual, network of people. But remember, this is, I mean, look, I'll get on to my next slide, really, just to kind of give you a bit of scope. So look, all these links should work. Obviously, if you're watching this on video, you'll have to type them in. But, just to kind of realize where we come from. But we got over 2,000 members on Meetup now that have kind of signed up to our events over the last, granted, that was doing quite well before. I think we were just shy of about 800 when we took the group on as the Welsh Azure user group. But I said in my last LinkedIn post, Steph Locke and the group as it was before with Richard Griffiths, and Matt, you were involved with the group before I kind of got on board those 5 years ago. But yeah, over 2,000. There we go, Dee. Yeah, do you know what, Dee? We were going to do this down the Credit Safe offices, and I think time just got away from me and Matt, and it was just like, okay, we really should. But yeah, look, we keep promising we will get back and we will focus on getting it. But in reality, I think that's probably where we're going to be now, is try and look at the format. We don't want to lose all you lovely lot from joining virtually that aren't close to South Wales. So, of course, we got to think of all that. But yeah, you're right. We need to do something just to have a bit of a celebration as well. I mean, watch this space, I think is the best thing to say at the minute. But yeah, literally, we've got. There we go. And there we go. I'll let Geraint in now because he's joined at the appropriate time. I'm saying I haven't spoken to Geraint for too long, but hello, boss.
Hey John, how you doing?
There we go. All good, matey. All good. We'll have to have a catch up after. But I'm doing my preamble. So look, I mean, over 2,000 members. Certainly a lot of that has been brought up over the last kind of 5 years now. So if you're not, I mean, the fact that you're in this session would say that you've already signed up. But please help us spread the word. If you get the chance, if in your business, if your friends, colleagues like this kind of thing, please do pop them in touch with us. Send them towards that link. And you'll notice in the top right there that we're part of the Azure Tech Group, which encompasses 152 groups globally. So you're never short of a meetup, whether that's an in-person. You can guarantee if you click on that link when you click on the MSFT stack link and then click on the Azure Tech Groups, you'll see you've got a little map, so you can find a local community near you. And I was just saying to Steve before that we're quite a close-knit group of folks across the UK that do these groups now. So guarantee that we've got some stuff going on. So please do help us share the love. So yeah, also we're on LinkedIn. So please, we've got about just over 300 members there on LinkedIn. Please feel free to click on that link, join up again, help us share it, and get some more momentum for the community. Equally, we're on X for those people that have decided to stay on X and not go off to Blue Sky. Is it Blue Sky? Or which, I don't know, the tech community seems to have fragmented into Discords, Blue Skies, all sorts at the minute. So X isn't quite the same as what it used to be back 5 years ago, but it's still going. And equally, all our sessions, you can see we've got we've got 60 sessions and they're all recorded there on that playlist. So if you wanted to just go and humour yourself, go and watch the Scott Hanselman, the John Saville, the Abel Wang, April Edwards, all the great speakers we've had over the last 5 years. Please feel free, click on that link, go and take a look. There's some really great sessions in there to take part in. But yeah, anything to add, Matt? I'm going to thank the sponsors now, and then we'll crack on. But anything you want to add?
Just a reminder: if you're viewing the sessions offline, the quizzes won't work anymore. So
yeah, well said. Yeah, I dread to think what would happen if somebody kind of tried to join in afterwards. But yeah, okie doke. Right, quick thanks to the sponsors. Obviously, thank them already tonight, but no session would be the same without saying thank you to Servent, Des, Declan and the team, and obviously Steve is joining us tonight. They've been with us since day one. They've helped sponsor not just this user group, but certainly a number of UK-based user groups across the country. So, it just goes to show the kind of level of support and commitment from Des and the team there. So if you're not sure who Servant are, they're a fantastic. Steve, I should probably let you do this before you give your talk, but from my point of view, they're a very well-respected Microsoft partner, Azure pure play, but I know they've expanded into a number of different areas now. Certainly go and take a look at them. Thank you guys. Thanks for the support over the last 5 years, and long may it continue. So having said that as well, we have locally HQ'd Business Credit Safe, who've been, again, fantastic support to us. And unfortunately, we were going to look to get an in-person event tonight or this week with Credit Safe, but like I say, unfortunately, time got away with us, and basically I'm useless at organising in-person events is clearly the message there. So we will get back to it, and we will get something set up, because there's too many people that I probably need to catch up with properly and make it worthwhile, right? So yeah, huge thanks to Credit Safe. So look, on that note, I think we'll just kick into it. Like I say, we have Steve, no pressure, but it's only yourself tonight. So on that note, thank you all for joining. We'll have a bit of a catch up later and joining the quiz after Steve's session. But Steve, for now, if you're good to go, I'm going to hand over to you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Well, it's nice to know that I'm following in some big footsteps, and I can only apologise in advance for what will be the crushing disappointment of listening to somebody with a Brummie accent on a Tuesday evening. So, yeah, let me see if I can press the Teams button. And if the technology doesn't let me down, we should be in business, John.
There we are. Got you loud and clear. Over to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So thank you first and foremost to John and Matt for inviting me today. So I'm going to whiz through some slides. So some of these you've seen, as John's just shown on the screen. But for those of you who aren't aware of who we are, so we're, as John mentioned, we're a long-standing Microsoft partner, and our sole focus is on the Azure platform. So end-to-end and everything in between. So we've been working with Azure since its very beginning. So for those of you as old as me, you'll probably remember Project Red Dog, and we've supported some of the largest enterprises across the world on their Azure journeys. So Servant is short for Serving Enterprises, and we're a highly agile, born in the cloud consultancy built from the ground up to serve enterprise scale customers who want to get best from the cloud. So we're very well known within Microsoft, very highly regarded for our deep Azure expertise. And we deliver that through our 4 key practices, which are data and AI, infrastructure, security, and digital and app innovation. And that really enables us to help customers design, build, secure, manage, and optimize their Azure environments to deliver real lasting business value. So shameless plug over, let me tell you about something called Sonic Brief. So Somebody mentioned in the chat there that they've seen Sonic Brief mentioned. You may well have seen the word Sonic Brief mentioned across LinkedIn and also on GitHub. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. So Sonic Brief is an innovative Microsoft transcription and summarisation solution. It's designed to help people capture spoken conversations and convert them into secure, structured notes. So this one was created by a global black belt as a reference design for speech-to-text and AI-driven summarization, and it allows users to record speech with audio securely uploaded to Azure, ensuring compliance, governance, and sovereignty. And there's a question from Mark, which I'll get to in a second, but while I'm taking that question, I urge you to take a note of the GitHub link. Perfect timing, Mark. Because there's a raft of technical information within the folder structure if you want to have a look into that as well while I'm speaking. Mark, you have a question? Is Mark able to speak, John, or has he been muted?
No. Should be able to come off mute.
Sorry.
Mark. There we are.
My headset's blown up and I'm having some problems here, so no, I haven't got a question.
No worries at all, Mark. No worries at all. Okay, so yeah, that your timing was perfect anyway, because that gives people to record the GitHub link anyway, so they can have a look at that. No problem. So moving onwards. So with the potential of the value of Sonic Brief was clear, it became obvious that the solution needed augmentation to make it fully deployable. So during discussions with Microsoft, Servent was therefore asked to create a bespoke application to really enhance Sonic Brief and to focus on a specific use case. And this use case is pertinent for our conversation tonight because that was social care in Wales. So with our digital and app innovation team, we went from the drawing board, that kind of grain of an idea, to an MVP in about 3 weeks. So let me tell you how that came around. So this collaborative project was founded off the back of 4 key things. So the first one is the Microsoft open source Sonic Accelerator, so Sonic Brief. Think of that really as the engine of the solution. Then there was conversations with members of the Microsoft team who were aligned to health and social care in Wales, who saw an opportunity to make this better. And then we had some feedback from some early consumers of the solution who thought there was a couple of things that were missing, things that could be done a little bit better. And then overcoming some of the challenges faced by the frontline teams. And let me tell you some more about that. So this opportunity for a fully fledged solution for social care could really help, but it needed to address certain things. So we need to let workers capture meeting notes and case updates verbally instead of typing. And I'll tell you a little bit in a short amount of time why that's so important. So we need to reduce that admin burden, giving social care professionals more time for face-to-face engagement and doing really what they're best at. We need to have the potential to streamline back office workflows, things like filling out forms, etc., saving valuable time and reducing human error. Also, it's top of the agenda for everyone to be more cost effective than other solutions out there on the market. And I'll say some more about that in a while, and helping with budget constraints. So in short, this solution needs to give social care teams more time to care and less time on paperwork by turning spoken words into structured, secure digital notes, workflows, forms. The sky's really the limit. So moving on. So I've already mentioned Sonic Brief had some early adoption and has landed with some pretty impressive headlines, which some of them I've displayed on the screen there. So it's already live in some councils, as I mentioned, helping their teams speed up casework, things like compliance reporting. And some of the councils provided some really valuable assistance with the creation of the solution, providing things like testing and feedback. And this feedback was, as you can imagine, invaluable to the application which Servent has developed for the overall solution. So the next steps were conversations with our partners at Microsoft, which then led to further talks with the fantastic folks at SRS in Wales. So for those of you who don't know who SRS are, they're a collaborative technology service, I suppose is the best way to describe them, across several public sector bodies in South Wales. And as you would imagine, they provide things like shared technology services, digital infrastructure, IT services to multiple organisations with the purpose of improving things like efficiency, reducing duplication, and obviously sharing resources. So that conversation then led to discussions about the current challenges faced by social care teams in Wales. And then really this idea of this solution started to take shape. So we found during these conversations that staff are having to spend long hours at home typing up pages and pages of notes. Obviously, there's a risk of key data getting missed. And often they find that this effort is duplicated. It's really easy to lose track of manual handwritten notes, especially if your handwriting is anything like mine. I write notes still, and sometimes if I haven't had Copilot to transcribe things, I could look at it and think, I've absolutely no idea what I mean by that. So that was vital. And obviously, we're talking here about caring for members of the community. So staff retention was another key topic that was mentioned. So these really talented people, and their time is really much more spent better doing what they do best rather than laborious transcription tasks, sometimes late into the night. So network coverage as well was another key point. So there's obviously some tech alternatives to handwriting out there already, but they require cellular network or Wi-Fi network coverage, which can't always be guaranteed. So some of the team we spoke to, as you can imagine, they work in some really rural communities, and they might have limited Wi-Fi or mobile connectivity during the day, or sometimes no connectivity at all. Now, this next point really resonated with me. It was really super important, and it was about not making eye contact. And it's a lot more important than I realised. So obviously, if we're having a conversation and I'm in a social care capacity, and I'm not making eye contact, and I'm sat there writing down on a pad of paper, I'm missing out on all of that non-verbal communication. And as you can imagine, again, dealing with vulnerable people in society, it may well be that people's body language changes when other people walk into the room. And if you're scrolling down on a pad with a pen, you might miss that, right? So again, that was an utterly vital point. So finally, many potential users of this technology, they face two challenges. So the first challenge would be the lack of that back-end knowledge to land a solution like this. And crucially, whatever is deployed, especially at the front end, it really has to be simple. Creating that is not as easy as it sounds. So I previously mentioned Sonic Brief was shaped by some very early adopters, and our involvement came from feedback gathered from those organizations. And it became very apparent that the solutions engine, again, Sonic Brief, was great, but the overall wrapper is missing to make it a fully deployable and usable solution. So some of the questions were asked are, what if we deploy this and there is a problem we can't solve? Who do we speak to? Or even worse, what if we can't actually get it deployed at all? So it was crying out for an application front end, somebody could help deploy it for those who need the help, and also a safety net of someone who could offer support, and also product enhancements to fully realize the potential of the solution. So firstly, let me tell you that Sonic Brief sits squarely on the user's Azure tenant. It's not centrally hosted by us at Servent or at Microsoft, and it needs to be located in the customer's secure, fully CAF-aligned Azure landing zone. So also, Servant or Microsoft do not manage the end user's devices. The app is also not tracking the end user in any way. This is not a time and motion survey by stealth. It's simply a productivity tool that will benefit the users and let them spend more time doing the important things and what they're really good at. But what if those organizations don't have a presence on Azure? So to make adoption of Sonic Brief as smooth as possible, we've adopted a tiered approach, and that tiered approach is three things. So new, emerging, and mature. And that aligns to the customer's current Azure footprint, should they have Azure footprint, of course. And that ensures that each organization gets the right level of support and enablement without any unnecessary complexity or cost. So I'll talk you through those three t-shirt sizes, if you will. So the new profile, what we'll be looking at there is someone who has no existing Azure presence, no landing zone in place, limited or zero in-house Azure knowledge. So our approach would be start with the fundamentals, of course, create a CAF-aligned Azure landing zone, build and secure a government environment to land Sonic Brief securely, and of course, any future workloads that they'd like to land into Azure. We can also provide foundational training to internal teams. We deliver things like CAF workshops to ensure customers come along for the journey. And then the middle size, the emerging profile. So building on those foundations, this type of customer or organization might already have an Azure presence, a basic landing zone in place, which may need remediation. Customers may have some Azure skills and knowledge internally. And our approach would be to conduct a review of that LZ and then that remediation against CAF best practices. We'd look at like hardening security, identity, networking, and cost governance, all that good stuff. And then we deploy Sonic Brief into the environment and deliver targeted knowledge transfer to enhance that in-house capability where needed, of course. And then looking at the top end of the scale, the more mature profile. So these would be your enterprise scale advanced Azure user. Fully CAF aligned landing zone in place, strong internal cloud capability and governance. So our approach there, we could fast track Sonic Brief deployment into their mature environment via one of a few different options. We could integrate with existing security, identity monitoring, all that good stuff. We can even provide API integrations and automation options for advanced use cases. So really to enable Sonic Brief across multiple teams and regions. So this tiered approach, we feel, lets us meet customers where they are, minimizing friction and crucially accelerating value. So as you can imagine, that also ensures security, governance, and cost efficiency are embedded from day one, no matter where this customer might be on their starting point. So one of the things I mentioned was ongoing support. So we can offer that via what we call Azure Hours Bank, which is a flexible prepaid pool of consultancy hours that customers can draw down as needed. So that offers a very lightweight commercial model, which is crucial if we're talking about public sector organisations. So no need to raise a new statement of works for every small engagement. It helps accelerate adoption, maintain momentum, and de-risk projects by bringing in expertise when it's needed. Customers just log a ticket, one of our technical guys jumps on it, and we get them sorted. I mentioned earlier on about network coverage, and let me tell you a little bit more about that. So again, based on that initial feedback and those initial use cases, one of our core design principles for our application was around offline functionality. So as I mentioned, some of the rural communities, the teams out there can really struggle with connectivity. So whatever app was going to be deployed must allow users to capture notes and work seamlessly without internet access, and then securely sync that data once they're back online. This, as you can imagine, ensures no disruption to frontline work and guarantees reliability regardless of the location that they find themselves in. Now, Entra ID integrations, as you can imagine, obviously security has got to be top of mind with these solutions. So it was vital because it provides, as you know, a secure, centralized identity platform. It enables things like single sign-on. So again, that ease of use for the end users. RBAC, conditional access policies, ensuring that only authorized users can access the application. That only simplifies user management, but really it also aligns with organizations' existing security and compliance frameworks. And a little bit more on that later because it's an important point. Now, of course, the elephant in the room, and some of you are probably already thinking about this already, I was when I first heard about this solution, was, aren't there already solutions out there that are capable of doing this? Well, in short, yes. Yes, there are. There are many vendors out there, Microsoft included, have their own AI suite that performs very well, and other organizations as well. But there are some limitations. So services like Copilot require the device to be online. And of course, not everybody has a Copilot license. And many potential users of Sonic Brief lack the knowledge to be able to put the constituent pieces together to make and create and support a workable solution. So Sonic Brief with our application and support is now a fully end-to-end solution. Again, if any of you who work in the public sector will know that there are some off-the-shelf services out there already, but some of these are very, very expensive. So initial use cases have shown that where some services out there, and I'm not going to name names, but you'll know who I'm talking about, they can cost between £3 and £5 an hour per user to buy these off-the-shelf services, where our initial findings with our initial use cases is that Sonic Brief is coming in at about 27 pence an hour. So obviously the difference between £3 and £5 an hour per user and 27 pence an hour is massive. So costing pennies an hour, and also it does not require the same level of financial commitment. There's no sign up to pools of hours and long-term commitments. We're not looking to create a competitor's version 2.0 here. And obviously budget constraints are top of mind for folks in public sector. So pretty compelling. Now, what I'm talking here about, obviously, our first engagement was focusing on social care in Wales. But as you can imagine, this solution is highly adaptable. And it can really be deployed across a wide range of other areas, as you can imagine. So Its flexible design, coupled with our application, the support, the deployment services, means it can be used, well, pretty much in any environment where accurate offline speech-to-text transcription adds value. And that could be places such as healthcare. It could be education, field services, law enforcement, really making it scalable platform beyond its initial social care use case. So Sonic Brief and the application Servant have developed also really gives us the opportunity to interact with many back office systems across many industry verticals to streamline repetitive and really laborious tasks, right? Nobody enjoys doing them. So a caveat here, you'll find out very rapidly if you ask me lots of deep dive technical questions at the end. I am not a member of the Servant technical team. I'm backed up by a fantastic array of technical people. So you have a couple of options here. It's my first time speaking on the Welsh user group. You could either think, oh, it's the guy's first time talking on here, so we'll go easy on the questions, or you could eviscerate me with some really technical questions. I know what I would do. So if I can't answer them, I will loop back to you and get an answer. And I'll also show you some other ways how we can answer your questions in a more structured manner with our technical folks. So this diagram was deployed by Microsoft alongside the Solution Accelerator, and it's available on GitHub via the link that I mentioned earlier. And I think John or Matthew has shared in the chat. So I'll whiz through the components that make up the Sonic Brief engine, if you will. So as I mentioned, they're all securely located in Azure. So we have Azure Static Web Apps, which is the front end really for upload, status and results. We have Azure App Service, which, as you can imagine, will handle job creation, file handling, reads, writes, that kind of stuff. Blob storage, very simple, 2 containers, recordings and process results. Then we have Azure Functions, which orchestrates the transcription and summarisation pipelines. And then we use Azure AI speech to text, which of course needs no explanation. Now, a key point on here, where the Sonic Brief solution uses Azure OpenAI to generate those structured summaries for transcripts. This is point in time, and whatever goes on in it does not feed into the general large language model. So we're not enhancing the publicly available LLM. The ChatGPT service is used within customer's own environment, where obviously from a data protection point of view, we can't have that feeding into the LLM. So it's point of time using it just for that customer and that customer's data. And then finally, we have the Azure Cosmos DB for job metadata, prompts, statuses, that kind of stuff. So as it stands, looking at this Sonic Brief demo picture that was a schematic that was put in the Sonic Brief repository, the user has to manually drop the recording in the web app, which starts the process off. So that has a manual process. So that's how it was. So this is a slightly amended Servant architecture design. And the big difference here, as you can see, is we've replaced that manual user upload requirement in the front end with the mobile app, which we've developed by our digital and app innovation team to streamline the whole process. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So our application, as I mentioned, has to be simple, and it is. It's simple by design. A complex application would really quickly gather dust and drive frustrations with end users. It just has to work. We're all used to apps now that just work. Simplicity is the key. So there's some really straightforward controls. I'm not going to read through them on here, but they're shown on the screen, and there's a dashboard view to manage all of your recordings, which I'll show you shortly. So back to Entra ID integration. So as I mentioned previously, it's crucial for Sonic Brief because it proves the foundation of secure access, identity management and compliance. And let me tell you a little bit more about that. So really, whenever we're talking about any solution, security, of course, is paramount. But in our initial use case that we're talking here, it's even more so. And this is why Entra ID is its incorporation is so important. So single sign-on, again, that simplicity. Users log in with their existing 365 organizational credentials. No additional accounts or passwords to manage. Strong security and compliance. It will inherit your organization security controls. RBAC I mentioned earlier, so those granular permissions can be assigned based on Azure AD groups or Entra ID groups. Sorry, I'm using old money phrases there. Ensuring only authorized staff can access sensitive data. Centralized user lifecycle management was crucial. So automatically it handles leavers and joiners, movers and all that kind of stuff. The improved user experience. So users get instant access without friction, while the IT admins can really manage everything centrally. And finally, the future-ready integration. So it enables scalable and simple integration with other Microsoft services and third-party systems, making it simple to extend Sonic Brief securely across multiple teams, multiple sites, other councils, without re-engineering identity. I'm coming towards the end now, so I'll see there were some questions. I'll pick those up at the end. So, as I mentioned earlier, Sonic Brief is deployed into a customer's Microsoft CAF-aligned Azure landing zone, completely owned by the customer. So it's built on enterprise-grade Azure security and governance controls, network segmentation, policy enforcement, and it ensures alignment to best practices for identity, security, cost, and operational governance from day one. And obviously around data sovereignty and compliance is utterly crucial. So all the data, audio files, transcriptions, summaries, everything, they're all stored within the customer's own Azure tenant and region. So this ensures data sovereignty and helps meet local regulatory requirements. No customer data is stored or processed outside the agreed geographical region. And again, I'll make the point, it's not managed outside of the customer's Azure tenant. So, and the other thing is, I've mentioned I've done enough about Entra ID. I've kind of done that to death, so we're all aware of why that's so important. But the final point is really about the clear demarcation lines and that separation of responsibility. So all elements of Sonic Brief sit on the customer's Azure environment, and Servent does not manage it. Neither does Microsoft, and we don't manage the customer's endpoint devices. So it reduces risk and ensures the government retains full control over their data and their infrastructure. So about this application then. So before we go into a short demonstration, and as a reminder, the app was fully developed by us at Servant with assistance from our friends at SRS Wales. And this mobile app integrates with Sonic Brief to support social care workers in the field in our initial use case. So workers can very quickly record interviews on their mobile devices very quickly and simply, which are then securely uploaded to the cloud. Sonic Brief then transcribes the audio and creates concise, structured summaries, ensuring documentation is consistent, timely, and accessible. And then the app streamlines the process from voice input to completed reports, reducing that admin burden. And that, of course, lets these fantastic social care staff spend more time supporting people and less time on paperwork. And this, of course, allows for the possibilities of further back-end integration into systems such as patient record systems or name your back office system. So I'll press play on the demo in a while, but it's a key part of our value proposition is that Sonic Brief is a flexible solution we can tailor to each organization's specific needs. We work closely with customers to understand their processes, their terminology, their security requirements, integration points. And because we've got deep expertise across data and AI, infrastructure security, digital app innovation, we can, customers need us to, customize prompts and output formats to match their reporting styles. We can integrate with existing case management systems and workflows if that's a requirement. We can adapt the solution to meet compliance and data governance standards. We can optimize for performance, cost, and user experience in their Azure environment, giving us really that ability to co-design and configure Sonic Brief around their ways of working. So, as I say, there's no audio. Now, this is where the technology, if it's going to let me down, might let me down. Oh, where's the play button? 1 second. There we go. I thought the play button wasn't going to work then. Guys, I had a minor heart attack. I'm back in the room. So, we hit play. So, as you can see, it's a very simple design that I spoke of. Very familiar to those who've seen similar apps. So, it's at the top, you can see we're putting information into the case ID. So, this can be free text. There could be multiple selection boxes, or we can hook into back office systems, which would auto generate those case IDs. You know, you'd get the next one on the list if that's what our customers needed. So now the users just simply press the recording button. And as you can see from the text at the top there, the recording's begun. And there's a countdown at the bottom has started, which show that this meeting is now started to record. We can pause it as simply as we start it. If somebody needs to take a break, for example, and again, very simple. As you see, there's not a lot that can go wrong with this. We can resume it. And as you can see there, it shows it's resumed. In a second, you'll see once that's stopped. So that recording is completed. It's shown at the bottom there. Again, very simple design. and the audio can be played back. You'll see the little line moving across there, so you could do an audio playback of the meeting that you've just recorded, delete it if you need to. And next, after the playback's finished, you'll get the very first view of the dashboard here. So you'll see 4 jobs with different status messages. So failed to upload, complete, notice the green cloud, processing as well. So it shows the different status messages. Again, a very simple dashboard. So keep your eye on the top job. You'll see that's now moved to processing. So that's now going to go through the process until it gets to the point where we're getting to, which we want to get to, which is the green cloud, which now means that's transcribed, processed, and is now uploaded securely. We can then drill into the individual job if we want to, where it shows when it shows complete. If we want to get more detail, we can listen to the playback again if you wanted to, or in this case, we can view the transcription. If you're sat somewhere where you can't play it back, you could just read the transcription yourself. And again, if you needed to, you could delete the job and start again. So again, now from this simple dashboard, it says there, retry upload on failure. This is just a very simple example of showing that something that hadn't uploaded because perhaps there's limited or no connectivity, or there was just a glitch, we can now retry that and get that uploaded and processed. So that gives us the opportunity to remedy, once connectivity is restored. And in a second, you'll see a message that flags up on the application that says there to show on the application you don't have any network connectivity. It will still work. And then when we restore network connectivity, we can then get the job finished, processed, and uploaded. So as you see, very simple application, simple by design. It had to be simple. So really, one of the major advantages that we Servent bring is our ability to unlock Microsoft funding programs when we're talking to customers. So those could be things such as Azure Innovate, which can cover or even contribute to the cost of our involvement in deployment of the Sonic Brief solution. And that really means that customers can accelerate their adoption of Sonic Brief with reduced upfront investment while benefiting from our expertise. So regardless of whether an organization is new to Azure or an advanced user, so back to those t-shirt sizes again, we can help build out their Azure capability or provide more light touch guidance to create the right foundation for Sonic Brief. And again, for those organizations who require the security of a support wrapper, we can provide the Azure Hours Bank, which I mentioned earlier, the flexible pool of consultancy hours. And we can provide ongoing customization of the application and how it ends with your back-end system. So anyone's aware of systems such as Liquid Logic, those are the sorts of systems I'm talking about. And this ensures they're not just getting the solution deployed, but also really building that long-term Azure capability and confidence, I suppose, with the teams. So in summary, the key points. So Sonic Brief, that engine, that solution that was deployed on GitHub is now an end-to-end solution with the application at the front end, the deployment assistance that Servant can do, the funding that we can unlock, and of course, the support wrapper, which I've mentioned a couple of times. It works offline. It's much, much more cost effective than other solutions. Remember the numbers I mentioned earlier, between £5 and £7 in some cases per user per hour. And Sonic Brief is coming in at about 27 pence for some of the users we've tried it on. So use cases against those multiple industry verticals I mentioned earlier on. We can tailor it to customers' Azure maturity, and it's not a point-in-time solution. We can deploy it, provide ongoing support, and crucially, ongoing customization for your needs, and we can deploy it rapidly. So as I come to the end now, before I get into, there's one more slide after this. I just want to say some thank yous. So Sonic Brief and the application we developed was created as a real true team effort. It really was designed collaboratively, shaped by diverse expertise and built with the goal of improving outcomes for everybody from the very beginning. So some of the people I just want to name check, Mustafa Mahmood, who is the Microsoft Global Black Belt I mentioned, who wrote the Sonic Brief engine. So Simon Harris and his fantastic team at SRS, we couldn't have got anywhere close to this without you guys. Some Microsoft colleagues, so Drew Thomas, Tina Owen, Ross Milhench, and the rest of the Microsoft team. Too many to mention, but thank you very much. The county councils and some of the other organisations who helped with the creation, testing of the Sonic Brief solution, couldn't have done it without you. And of course, Servant's digital and app innovation team. And last but not least, I'd like to thank John, Lunn and Matt for letting me speak today. And the final slide I'm going to put up is, if you want to find out more about the solution, if you want to speak to somebody who's more technical than me, if you'd like a demo and to see how the thing actually works with some of our team, if you want to talk to us about unlocking funding to get Sonic Brief into your environment or to see how it fits into your organization, or if you want to speak to your team about any kind of customization, then I urge you to take a note of the URL there and the email address. Please drop us a note, give us a ring, whatever you want to do, and we'd be happy to speak to you. And for me, that's the end of the presentation. Back to you, John.
Thanks very much, Steve. Awesome stuff. Yeah, I've just been taking a look. I think there are a couple of questions actually in the chat. I don't know if you want to have a quick peruse. I've just been taking a look at the GitHub repo on it myself. It's the first time I've really seen it as well. It looks pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't know, Steve. I mean, Dee's asking about did you come across any kind of air gap requirements? You know, that kind of offline style. I think you mentioned that there was some kind of capacity, rural capacity, or was that UD? I mean, I don't know if you've had those challenges in this thing that you'd worked on with your customer.
Air gaps in so that was Dee's question. Air gaps in what respect you mean, Dee? I mean, obviously this is, like I say, this each deployment of Sonic Brief will sit in the, so if we deploy it for 20 customers, it's gone 20 different Azure tenants, right? So it's, do you mean like creating its own specific Azure landing zone just for Sonic Brief?
More so in government, where you might have secure floor planes that can't connect to things like ChatGPT or AI models in real time.
So in that case, and you'll notice that I mentioned earlier on, Dee, that we put this on the customer's environment. We don't manage end user devices, all that kind of thing. And there's a reason for that, which kind of in a roundabout way answers your question, Dee. That when we first started working with the fantastic guys at SRS and the other partners I've mentioned, we worked out, if we sat down and tried to create our own solution where we hosted it and we did all of that good compliance stuff and managed end user devices, we would never release a thing because we would spend the next 3 to 37 years trying to tick all those compliance boxes. So we provide the toolkit and we will land it in your Azure environment for you, but we'll help that with your whatever compliance requirements you've got. So whichever customer's got, and in your example, their government use case, we'll help work with that organization to land the solution. But we don't say that this solution is compliant for everybody across the board. We're giving the tools out and we're giving them out to customers. But really what they need to do is they'll need to work out their compliance restraints and how it fits into their solution. And we can offer guidance on that, but we won't own that. We'll just offer a helping hand and a solution. And that's a deliberate slopey shoulders move, Dee, and everyone else on the call, because if we started going down that line and said we're going to host it and we don't tick the right compliance boxes, we just have to pull the solution off the shelf and wouldn't be able to ever deploy it to anybody because we would just paint ourselves into a corner. So a very long-winded way, and happy to go into that with our technical team in more detail for you, Dee, if you wanted to set up another call, but we're quite happy to make the solution fit into whomever's compliance requirements, if possible.
Yeah, cheers, Steve. There's always going to be these nuances, right? I think it's an interesting concept there, but yeah, I'll certainly be. I was just going to ping that through to all my team actually to say, look at this, take a look at this for kind of. They're always great. I've seen a couple of these accelerators now written by GBBs, and certainly in the AI front, it just seems to be quite a decent way of working with customers now. That developing these accelerator platforms that you can then take and scale and chop and change and tweak and do with what you need to, right?
Yeah. Well, our first joint Microsoft sessions about this very subject, John. So you're getting a sneak peek here. Our first Microsoft sessions kick off with Drew and the team and Tina and Ross Thursday, and then the Thursday after, and then the Thursday after that. So if you speak to any of those guys I've mentioned, who you'll know very well, they can share the links with you and you can jump onto one of those sessions. But like I say, you're getting a sneak peek here.
I'll be deployed into my tenant now. Don't worry, I'll be getting Matt on the case to help me.
Get it sorted.
No, good stuff. No, I don't think there's any more questions. Thanks, Steve, for coming down. Really appreciate it. Look, any other questions for anybody, then pop them in the chat. But we'll, but like Steve says, if you want to reach out, I know the Servant team are always great to kind of jump on and help with things like that. So give them a shout. But yeah, if everybody wants to show their appreciation with their React buttons, as we do. Thanks again, Steve. Always a pleasure to see you as well, sir.
No problem at all. Thank you for inviting me, John. Good to catch up.
No, anytime. Yeah, we'll stick around. More than welcome to join in the quiz now, which I think we're going to move into in speedy fashion with Mr. Fatonka.
I shall get it up and running, and then we should be good. Let me just share that one. And then we'll start up. Everyone should be able to see that.
Yeah, got your screen.
September, that's the one. Hello, what's going on there? Oh, there we go. That's better. You had me worried for a minute there.
It's me deploying Sonic Brief to your tenant, dear sub.
I'll get emails in the morning.
We bottled using this the other day, Matt. We were going to do a team meeting where we had a bunch of questions set up in front of about 70 people.
Yeah.
And then there was a few seniors in the room. I thought, oh, you know, so we bottled using it in the end. I'm sad to say.
I've had it up to about 200.
Oh, I know you said that before, and it's like, I know a few people. I don't know. I always blame Alan. It's usually Alan's phone that doesn't join, isn't it? Where if he's still on, is he still there? I don't know. I'm not going to curse it now. Yeah, he's still there.
I'm here, but I'm struggling to get in for some reason.
Yeah, that was the voice that turned me off. That was the voice I heard in my head when it's like, all right, 70 people with a bunch of senior folks, shall we? And I heard Alan's voice going, my mobile's not connected.
We frame it as we always do. It's something I've written. I'm a support team of one. There's issues with it.
It's great. The amount of people I've shown just on the, like, obviously people that do the quiz don't see the back end with the. I know you've done the talk on it.
Yeah, I've got in, John. I think I was trying to be clever with the username and try and 5th birthday, but it didn't work.
You were just trying to. You just need to do pull requests and create issues, Alan. Right, for Matt to sort.
Yeah, I do look at them. I have been fixing them slowly.
There we are. What are we up to now? How many people we got? 13. What we got there? 9. Any more for any more? Anybody struggling to get on? I'm not on. I haven't. In fact, I'm going to join. I'm going to join in. I won't obviously not take a prize. Not that I'm going to get anywhere close to the answers for sure.
You might know some of them today.
Yeah, that's what I always think.
Matt, if you're struggling with your application, can I offer you an Azure Hours Bank service and get one of our guys to price them back up for you?
Look, if I can't get it funded through Microsoft, I'm sure I can't get it funded anywhere else.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'm going to kick this off now.
I think so. Yeah, nobody's stuck.
Let's go.
Forever hold your peace.
At the first WAG event in September 2020, what was the first speaker's topic?
Oh, I know what that was. Or do I?
You're not sure, are you? You see?
Did I speak at the very first one? Yeah, I did, didn't I?
It was enterprise scale landing zones with Chris Whitehead, I think it was. Not many people got that one. Microsoft is helping to build the UK's largest supercomputer. How many GPUs will it have? This is a massive investment. So many $1 billion in the UK. Correct answer is 23,000 GPUs. Which, if you're trying to get hold of a gaming rig, is probably why you can't. Yeah. Which of these Azure services launched in 2020?
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, Nick. Apologies if you're having problems.
Oh, no.
There's always one. It was Azure Communication Services. Oh, true or false? The speech-to-text feature of Azure AI Speech supports more than 140 input locales.
Is that languages?
Input locales is like language and dialects, I think.
Dialects, yeah. That's a very specific number, Matt.
That's true. I know. Which feature is being retired on the 30th September 2025 in Azure AI Speech?
Oh, don't
Although
know.
it is still available somewhere else. It's intent recognition, apparently. Which service is intent recognition still going to be available in? You can tell I was on a speech-to-text vibe with a lot of these. This will split the pack, I think. It's the Azure AI Language Service. See, you're on a bit of a roll there. Azure AI speech to text speech to text offers both real-time transcription and batch transcription modes. Is that true or false?
Say that again, Matt. That was a tongue twister.
It was a bit of a mouthful, that one, yeah. But no, I'm not going to. One time only. It's true. Of course it is. Simon with the fastest. What year did Microsoft acquire GitHub?
Ooh.
This was my random question of the day. How far pre-pandemic was it? It was 2018. Al G was the only person, well, I suspect one of the only people that got that one right. How many members were on the original WAG organising team?
Oh, God. Should know this, really, shouldn't I?
You should do that, yeah.
I don't.
We are officially, John, the hardcore from that team.
We are the steadfast. Oh, I got it right. Simon beat me, though. God,
Yeah.
Simon, how did you get there before me?
Who won the first WAG quiz in September 2020?
Oh, wow. Wow.
This is why I was going back watching the video. I wanted to find out.
I'm going to go for and you know, we would normally, I think, wait till the clock. I got it right. I was going to pick Alan there because Alan's not done too bad lately.
So, John, you win, I think.
I won,
so
yay.
it looks like
No,
D.
Mr. Bolt, congratulations. What we got, £25 Amazon voucher.
I think that's right, yeah.
Good stuff. Oh, I'm glad I won. Oh, there we go. I won our 5th anniversary quiz. I'm going to take that as a win. I never win. So that'll do me. Right, well done, D. That is you, I'm assuming, because it's the Bolt. It's you. I mean, I should just assume, but do me a favour, D. Just give me a nudge on one of my socials as my reminder. I would do it tonight, but I'm literally about to jump in the car and head up towards Manchester in 5 minutes. So let me quickly get the PowerPoint back on. I will bring this one to a close. So look, there we go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on our 5th anniversary. Really do appreciate everybody giving up their time. We're going to obviously have a little think now over the next coming month. We will have a next month's event. But firstly, thank you, Steve, for coming on along and saying hello. Please pass our regards back to Des and the team and thank the guys for all the support over the last 5 years. You know, huge thanks. We always manage to get some really good speakers joining the events, and you know, these groups wouldn't be the same without them. So, you know, you are a line of many fantastic speakers. So thanks for coming along again, Steve. Thank you everybody for joining. Really do appreciate it. Like I say, this is
John,
a community user group. Yeah, go for it.
Just before you go, massive thank you to you and Matt, and obviously all the other people that have been involved. Thank you to Servant for helping sponsor it and keep it all going and stuff. But also, you come into Manchester and you didn't tell me.
There's so many people. Do you know what? I didn't know I was coming myself until about 2 days ago. So that'll probably be why, Alan. But I'm in and around the Manchester city centre area for the next 2 days. So
I'm in the office, which is right smack in the city centre.
Well, give us a nudge. We might have to meet up for an evening drink or two, maybe. So yeah, give us. I'm driving up now.
Just a coffee or something.
I won't be up till midnight anyway, so I'll be there tomorrow. I'm with a customer, but yeah, give us a nudge, Alan. We'll meet up or something.
Okay.
But no, and thanks for the words. Thanks for kind words. I know you've been around to many of these events over the last few years as well, Alan. So thank you. You know, like I say, it goes out to everybody that joined. There's a lot of familiar faces on this call. Thanks, guys, for all your support. Help us to spread the word more. We'll hopefully come back bigger and stronger now over the next 5 years. But next event, 22nd of October, we'll be back at it. We're probably going to go down to one speaker at each event. I think it just feels a little bit more manageable. I don't know how you guys feel. I probably should put a questionnaire out to everyone, shouldn't I, and get some feedback. In fact, I might try and do that, over the next few weeks or so. But for now, thank you all. Happy birthday to the Welsh Azure user group. Thanks for all the kind words and thanks for all the support. And we will see you all next month.
Cheers, guys.
Bye for now.